Tension erupts on Delancey Street. Catherine Doyle, the most powerful female billionaire in Philadelphia, stands face to face with Andre Williams, the garbage collector who managed to do what she, with all her wealth and influence, could not: make her daughter feel safe. "Who do you think you are?" Catherine snapped, her breath trembling with fury. "You think you understand my daughter better than I do?" Andre calmly placed his dust-covered glove on the trash bin, lifted his head, and looked straight at the trembling woman. His voice was deep yet steady. "I don't need to understand. I just need to listen." "Listen to what?" Catherine stepped closer, her eyes blazing. "The girl hasn't spoken a word in 6 years." 6 years? What could you possibly have heard? Andre's lips curved slightly, his gaze unwavering. "Exactly. Those 6 years, did you ever truly stay silent to listen? Or did you just keep talking, pushing, demanding she respond?" The words landed like a slap straight to Catherine's heart. Behind the iron bars, Lily's eyes widened as she followed every exchange. For the first time in her life, the girl witnessed someone daring to tell her mother things she had never allowed herself to hear. This is the story of how a quarrel that seemed to be nothing but fire and rage became the beginning of a child's path to healing. If you believe there are truths that must be spoken, no matter how hard they are to hear, hit subscribe to True Tale Time now, so you won't miss stories as gripping and emotional as this one. But what could drive a proud billionaire woman to scream at a sanitation worker? And why would a child raised in luxury find peace in a pair of calloused hands? To answer that, we need to rewind time, back to the heavy silence inside the mansion at Society Hill. Philadelphia, Monday morning. Two completely different lives begin a new day, unaware that in just a few days, fate would force them to cross paths in a way no one could have imagined. Society Hill, 5:30 a.m. Catherine Doyle woke before the alarm rang. Not because she wanted to, but because her sleep was always haunted by the same nightmare: her daughter calling "Mommy" in a sweet voice. And then, upon opening her eyes, the cruel reality would crash down. 6 years had passed, and she had never once heard that voice. Lying on the king-size bed, Catherine gazed out the third-floor window. Outside, Society Hill was waking up. The red brick houses from the 18th century stood in neat rows like old soldiers, silently guarding the secrets of the past. "Damn it," Catherine muttered, eyes glued to her phone. 47 emails had arrived since just 11 p.m. the night before. Wall Street never slept, and neither did Catherine. But before the emails, she carried out the habit she had kept for 4 years: listening. Barefoot on the Persian carpet, she stopped in front of Lily's door. Pressing her ear against the oak, Catherine held her breath, hoping, just once, to hear her daughter talking to herself, humming a tune, or even just sighing softly. Silence. Always silence. Catherine gently pushed the door open. Lily was fast asleep, clutching the brown teddy bear, the last gift from David, the husband who had died in a car accident. Streetlight spilled through the curtains, casting pale golden streaks across that angelic face. "Stay strong, my little girl," Catherine whispered. "Today will be different. I believe it will." But deep inside, she knew she was only lying to herself. Just 15 minutes away, in a shabby 2-bedroom apartment in West Philadelphia, Andre Williams was waking his son in a very different way. "Rise and shine, champion." Andre patted Isaiah's leg. "Smell that?" Dad's famous pancakes Isaiah, 12 years old, tall with the same eyes as his late mother, chuckled sleepily. Dad always says his pancakes are famous, but you only ever make them for me. Exactly. That's why you're the luckiest kid in Philly. Andre sat on the edge of the bed. Monday. Remember what I always say? New week, new opportunities. Isaiah repeated with a half smile. That's my boy. They sat together in the small kitchen, morning light streaming through the curtainless window. Nothing fancy, just an old wooden table, two mismatched chairs, the smell of pancakes mixing with coffee. But here was something Catherine's million-dollar mansion never had. Laughter. Dad? Isaiah said carefully as he poured syrup. Yesterday, Johnny at school asked why you don't work in an office like other dads. Andre froze, fork and knife in hand. It was a question he had expected, but was never prepared for. So what did you say? I said, my dad is the strongest man I know, and strong people do whatever it takes to take care of their family. Andre turned away, hiding his misty eyes. You really think that? Isaiah nodded, his voice unusually serious for a 12-year-old. I think Johnny may have a dad in a suit. But that dad definitely doesn't know how to make pancakes that taste like happiness. Andre laughed through the lump in his throat. And that was the difference between the two families. One had everything money could buy, but no laughter. The other had little, but was overflowing with love. You might be thinking, these two worlds would never collide. A powerful billionaire woman with a schedule packed to the minute, and a quiet single father making ends meet. Too distant, too opposite. But in a city like Philadelphia, where old cobblestone streets lead into struggling neighborhoods, sometimes it takes just one moment, and everything changes. Society Hill, 2 hours later. Catherine sat in her Bentley, phone pressed to her ear as the car stopped in front of St. Joseph's private school. Through the bulletproof glass, she watched Lily quietly walk into the building, not speaking to anyone. Catherine, are you still there? The CFO's voice crackled through the line. We need your approval on the Tokyo deal before noon. Yes, approve it, Catherine answered mechanically, eyes still fixed on Lily. Another girl ran up to strike a conversation. Lily only smiled, nodded, then walked away. Catherine bit her lip. Catherine? The CFO pressed. I said approve it, Michael. And book another session with the therapy team. We need to try something different. Hanging up, Catherine leaned back into the leather seat. Today she had 9 meetings, 3 interviews, 1 magazine photo shoot. And tonight, she would return home to a daughter who still would not say a single word to her. Meanwhile, in West Philly, Andre drove his old pickup to the sanitation company depot. On the radio, Stevie Wonder's Isn't She Lovely played, and he sang along, tapping the steering wheel. Morning, Andre. Joe, a 60-year-old co-worker, waved. Always up early, Joe. Early bird finds trash early. Andre grinned. How's Martha? Joe sighed. Doctor says her arthritis is worse. But she's stubborn, out in the garden every day. Andre listened with rare attentiveness. Since Sarah's passing, he had understood one thing. Every moment with loved ones is precious. Tell her if she needs help, I'll stop by. Isaiah should also learn what community really means. Joe chuckled, patting his shoulder. You've got enough on your plate already, Andre. Andre shook his head. All the more reason to teach my son. Community is where you give, not just take. Life has a strange way of pulling people together when they need each other most. And just one day later, on what seemed like an ordinary morning, these two worlds would collide. In a way no one expected. Because sometimes, a chance encounter becomes a lifelong turning point. And sometimes, a silent child is the very voice two adults need to hear. Tuesday, 8:15 a.m. on Delancey Street. Andre Williams's familiar green garbage truck rolled down the oldest cobblestone street in Philadelphia. This wasn't his favorite route, not because of the heavy work, but because it always felt like he had wandered into a world that wasn't his. Society Hill, Andre muttered, his eyes sweeping over the million-dollar mansions lined up like fortresses. A place where people have everything, except time for each other. He stopped in front of number 412, a 3-story mansion with glossy black gates and a perfectly trimmed garden. Andre had heard co-workers mention this family, the youngest female billionaire in Pennsylvania, living with her 6-year-old daughter, the child high society coldly nicknamed the Mute Angel. Weird nickname for a kid, Andre frowned, dragging the heavy trash bin. Every child should be noisy and messy. That's what being a kid is. Just as he was about to dump the trash, a small sound came from behind. Andre turned. Behind the iron bars stood a little girl, about 6 years old, golden hair, piercing blue eyes. Her elegant pink dress only highlighted the stark contrast with the sadness in her gaze, a sadness no child should carry. "Hello, little princess." Andre set the trash bin down, crouching to her eye level. "Were you talking to me?" Lily nodded, her tiny finger pointing at the pile of garbage. Andre followed her gesture. Among the plastic bags and boxes, a brown teddy bear lay crushed. "Oh, no. Is that your bear?" Lily nodded hard, her eyes brimming with tears. "Don't cry. I'll get it back." Andre carefully picked up the bear, brushed the dust off, and held it like a treasure. "What's his name?" Lily parted her lips, but no sound came out, only a pleading look. "That's okay. You don't have to say it." Andre gently pushed the bear through the gate. "Look at him, so soft, bow tie so neat. He must be very special." Lily hugged the bear tightly, and for the first time her lips curved into a smile. Small, but real. "You know what?" Andre lowered his voice warmly. "My son, Isaiah, has a bear just like yours. Maybe the two bears are distant cousins." Lily tilted her head, curious. Every night Isaiah tells his bear stories. About school, about dreams, and even about missing his mom. Talking to a bear is easier than talking to people. Because bears don't judge. They just listen. In that moment, something miraculous happened. The girl who had been silent for 6 years found the first person who made her want to communicate. Lily pointed at Andre, then at herself, then hugged her bear tightly. "You're asking if bears can hug too?" Andre chuckled. "Of course. And those hugs are magical. They make everything feel lighter. To you, this might seem like nothing more than a passing conversation. But to Lily, it was the first time she felt no pressure, no force to speak. Sometimes, the smallest moments plant the seeds for the biggest changes. And this was the very first seed. In the second-floor study, Catherine Doyle was glued to her laptop when Maria, the maid, burst in, alarmed. "Signora Catherine, come quickly! Lily is outside with the garbage man!" Catherine shot up, her heart pounding. "What?" "She's never gone outside on her own." She rushed to the balcony. The sight before her made her grip the railing tight. Lily, the daughter who had never let anyone near, was listening intently to a strange man, and even smiling. "Oh my God," Catherine whispered, her eyes wet. She's reacting." Lily pointed, nodded, even giggled. Reactions Catherine had begged for over 6 years and never received. In that moment, Catherine, the woman who controlled everything in her life, was shaken by a realization. There were things she could not control. And maybe That was exactly what her daughter needed. Out in the yard, the conversation continued. Andre smiled. You know what I think? I think your bear has been keeping all the words you've wanted to say these past 6 years. And one day, when you're ready, he'll give them back to you. Lily clutched the bear, her eyes lighting up. For the first time in her life, she felt understood without words. Andre stood. I have to go now, little princess. But I'll be back tomorrow, same time. Who knows? Maybe then you'll introduce your bear to me in a special way. Lily nodded, waving her tiny hand. Andre had just turned when a cold voice cut through the air. Excuse me. He turned. A tall woman, blonde hair neatly tied back, elegant black suit. Even without an introduction, Andre knew. Catherine Doyle. Yes, ma'am, Andre spoke. I don't know what you're doing, but my daughter is not allowed to talk to strangers. Andre glanced at Lily, now hiding behind the bars, hugging her bear tighter, then answered calmly. With respect, ma'am, your daughter was just talking to me. In her own way, Catherine froze. She doesn't talk to anyone. She has a medical condition. Andre held her gaze. I'm sorry, but in just these few minutes, she's said more to me than she has in 6 years. Catherine's eyes swept over him. The stained orange uniform, the dusty gloves, the stench of garbage. I appreciate your kindness, but she needs doctors, not small talk from a stranger. Andre nodded slightly. Doctors are great. But I believe sometimes what a child needs most is simply someone willing to listen. The air grew heavy. Catherine felt the blood rush to her face. I think you should leave now. Andre turned to go, but before walking away, he looked back. See you tomorrow, little princess. Don't forget what we just talked about. The garbage truck slowly rolled away. Lily remained, watching until it disappeared at the end of the street. Lily, come inside. Now Catherine called. But, for the first time in her life, Lily didn't immediately obey. She stood a moment longer, clutching her bear tightly, then walked in. And Catherine knew something had changed. Something beyond her control. That evening, in Andre's apartment. Dad, you've been quiet today, Isaiah said as he grabbed a pancake. Something happen? Andre smiled faintly. I just keep thinking about a little girl I met this morning. She reminded me of you, back when Mom first passed. Isaiah nodded, thoughtful. I remember. Back then, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was mad at everyone. Except you. Why except me? Andre asked. Because you didn't try to fix me. You just sat with me. Andre wrapped his arms around his son. That's right. Sometimes people don't need to be fixed. They just need someone willing to sit beside them in silence. Meanwhile, Catherine stood outside Lily's room, listening. And for the first time in weeks, she heard small sounds. Not clear words, just whispers to her teddy bear, but unmistakably Lily. Tears streamed down. Catherine leaned against the wall. 5 minutes? 5 minutes with that man? Did what I couldn't do in 6 years? The answer, though she wasn't ready to admit, was undeniable. Andre had given Lily something all her wealth could not. Unconditional acceptance. But this was only the beginning. Because in the days that followed, as Andre kept showing up and Lily kept changing, Catherine would face the hardest question of her life. Would she have the courage to admit she had been wrong? And that fiery argument you saw at the beginning was the result of 3 months of tension, misunderstanding, and finally, a heartbreaking truth they both had to face. What began as a chance encounter quickly became a daily routine. and Catherine could no longer ignore it. Every morning at 8:15, Lily waited by the window. And every morning, Andre spent 5 to 10 minutes talking with the girl through the bars. Catherine watched from the second-floor balcony, her heart pounding each time her daughter responded. "This isn't right," she told herself. "I don't know anything about him." By Thursday, Catherine decided to act. She called the city sanitation company. "Hello, this is Catherine Doyle on Delancey Street. I'd like to ask about an employee. Andre Williams. Is there a problem, ma'am?" The supervisor's voice sounded worried. "I just need to know what kind of person he is." "Andre? He's been here 4 years. Never late, never complains, always does more than his share." "Why do you ask?" Catherine hesitated. "He's been talking to my daughter." "Then that sounds like Andre. He's got a son, too. Real family man. His wife passed away a few years back. He's been raising the boy alone since." That information made Catherine pause. She had prepared for the worst-case scenario. But Andre Williams seemed to be a decent man. Lily began to change. Small things, but clearly visible. On Monday, she finished her breakfast on her own, something that had never happened before. On Tuesday, she placed a drawing on the windowsill, an orange garbage truck, and 2 tiny figures, one in orange, one in pink. On Wednesday, Maria reported to Catherine, "Senora, Lily smiled today." Not a forced smile, a real one. Catherine's chest tightened. Her daughter was smiling. At a stranger. With her mother, she was still silent. "Maybe I should talk to him," Catherine told herself. "Ask what he's been doing." But every time she was about to step out, there was an urgent meeting, a pressing email, or a call from Tokyo. By the time she looked up, Andre was gone and Lily was back inside. Andre began telling Lily about his son. "Isaiah started middle school this year," he said, while swapping out the trash bins. "He was scared on the first day." "Know what I told him?" Lily shook her head, eyes wide. "I told him, feeling nervous means you care, and caring is never a bad thing." Lily nodded and pointed to her chest. "That's right, Princess. Everything of yours lives here, doesn't it?" For the first time, someone told Lily that silence wasn't the lack of feelings. It was having too many. Andre also slowly noticed Lily's tiny tells. She hugged her teddy when sad, pointed to the sky when happy, and always looked west whenever he left, the direction where her father had died on his way home. "You miss your dad, don't you?" Andre asked softly one day. Lily nodded, eyes reddening. "Missing the ones we love is normal. Isaiah misses his mom every single day. Love doesn't disappear when people go. It just changes shape." You might think these were only brief chats through the bars, but for Lily, they were the first bricks of a bridge, from isolation to connection. And for Catherine, each smile, each look from her daughter cracked her shield of control. One more fissure at a time. Catherine began rearranging her schedule to quietly observe. She saw that Andre didn't just talk. He listened. He truly listened. Lily pointed at a bird. Andre talked about birds. She pointed at clouds. He described their shapes. She pointed at her chest. He spoke about love. He's teaching her that communication doesn't require words, Catherine suddenly realized, and that she deserves to be heard. But the more she watched, the more guilt gnawed at her. Why was her daughter more at ease with a stranger than with her own mother? One Friday morning, Catherine decided to walk down to the gate. "Mr. Williams." Andre turned and nodded. "Miss Doyle." "Good morning. I want to thank you for being kind to Lily. She's a special girl. It's easy to be kind to her." Catherine glanced at Lily standing behind the bars as usual. "May I ask, what do the two of you talk about?" "Everything and nothing," Andre smiled. Today, she turned clouds into animals. Yesterday, she hummed the song her Teddy likes. She hummed? Catherine startled. Lily hasn't made a sound in years. Maybe she just needed someone to hum along. In that moment, Catherine understood. The problem wasn't that Lily couldn't speak. It was that she hadn't met anyone worth speaking to. Everything flipped when a paparazzo snapped a photo of Lily and Andre. The headline was explosive. Billionaire lets daughter play with sanitation worker. Scandal. The image spread across the internet. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. "Catherine, this is damaging the company's image," the chairman said. "Investors are asking questions." "What questions?" "About my daughter talking to a kind person? About your judgment? About your priorities? About whether you can separate private life from business responsibility?" Catherine felt the world she had built begin to wobble. All because her daughter had finally found joy. Catherine made a decision. This connection had to end. When Andre arrived as usual, she was already standing at the gate. "Mr. Williams, we need to talk." "Yes, this has to stop. Your conversations with my daughter, they end here." Andre looked at Lily behind the bars, the confusion flooding the girl's eyes. "May I ask why?" "Because this isn't appropriate. You don't understand her history, her needs." "What needs?" Andre gently cut in. "The need to be listened to be understood, to feel that her thoughts have value." "You don't understand." "No." Andre remained calm but firm. "You don't. For 6 years, she's been trying to tell you something. You haven't listened. You've tried to fix her." Catherine choked up. "She's my daughter. I know what's best for her. Do you? For the last 3 months, I've watched her come alive. And now you want to take that away. Just because some guy with a camera says it doesn't look good. Who do you think you are?" Catherine's voice shook with anger. "You think you understand my daughter better than I do?" Andre set his dirty gloves on the trash bin and looked straight into the eyes of the tightly wound woman. "I don't need to understand. I just need to listen." "Listen to what?" Catherine stepped closer. "My daughter doesn't speak. 6 years without a word." "Exactly." Andre stayed composed. "And in those 6 years, have you ever truly been silent enough to hear her? Or have you just kept talking, hoping she would answer?" Catherine felt as if she'd been punched in the gut. Behind the bars, Lily stared, unblinking. For the first time in her life, someone was telling her mother what her mother needed to hear. "She doesn't need to be fixed," Andre continued. "She needs to be accepted. She needs someone who can sit with her in silence without feeling threatened. She needs—" "That's enough," Catherine snapped. "You have no right to tell me about my child." "Then what right do you have? To keep your child from being happy?" The question struck Catherine like a blow. For the first time, she faced the truth. For 6 years, she had tried to change her daughter instead of receiving her. And just then, something no one expected happened. Just then, a small sound came from behind the iron bars, cutting both of them off. Tap, tap, tap. Lily was tapping her finger lightly against the gate. Something she had never done before. When Andre and Catherine turned, the little girl pointed at Andre, then at Catherine, then placed her hand over her chest. "She's saying something," Andre whispered. Lily repeated the gesture, this time more clearly. Pointed at Andre, pointed at Catherine, then pressed both hands against her tiny heart. Catherine's voice broke. She's saying she cares about both of us. That moment was like a blade slicing through the heavy curtain between the two adults. For 3 months, Catherine had never admitted she was wrong. Andre had never backed down, and Lily had remained silent between their clash. Yet it was this child, the one with the least voice, who shattered the cycle with 3 simple motions. And sometimes, that is all it takes for 2 adults to realize. They've been so busy arguing, they forgot to listen. Lily stepped closer, her eyes glistening. She mouthed something. Catherine dropped to her knees, eye level with her. "My love, Mommy's listening. I promise I'll listen." Andre knelt beside her, his voice steady and warm. "Take your time, Princess. No pressure. We're here with you." And then, like a breeze stirring the leaves, a tiny voice broke the silence. "Sad." The world froze. Catherine pressed her hand against her chest, her heart nearly stopping. What did you just say?" "Sad," Lily repeated, louder, tears falling. "Mommy's sad." "Lily's sad," Catherine burst into tears. "Yes, sweetheart. Mommy is sad. Mommy has been sad for a long time." "Why?" The second word escaped, trembling yet strong. Catherine glanced at Andre, then back at her child. This was the moment she had waited 6 years for, and the moment she feared most, because to answer, she had to be honest with herself. "Because," Catherine's voice shook, "because I don't know how to be a good mother without your father." Lily reached her small hand through the bars, touching her mother's cheek. "Mommy, good Mommy." Catherine clutched her daughter's hand, kissing the tiny palm. "No, sweetheart. Mommy was wrong. I tried to fix you, only because I didn't know how to fix myself." Andre watched, his heart breaking. He knew this was a moment that belonged only to mother and daughter. But then Lily turned to him and spoke her 3rd word. "Friend." Andre smiled. "That's right, Princess. I'm your friend. Mommy." "Friend too?" Andre hesitated, then gently. "That's for your mommy to decide." Catherine rose, wiping her tears. She looked at the man she had once seen as a threat, now realizing he was the one who had brought her daughter back to life. "Mr. Williams, Andre, I owe you an apology." "No need." "Yes." Catherine drew a deep breath. "I was afraid you'd take my daughter away. But the truth is, I lost her long before you came along." Choking, she admitted, "I wanted her to speak, only to prove I was a good mother. But you made her feel heard without a single word." Andre nodded. "Maybe I only recognized it because I've been there. When Isaiah lost his mom, he went silent too. I tried everything, doctors, therapy, toys. Nothing worked until I sat with him in his grief. I didn't try to fix him. I just listened." He looked Catherine straight in the eye. "Lily isn't resisting. She's protecting. Protecting herself and protecting you." "Protecting Mommy from what, sweetheart?" Catherine knelt, looking at Lily. "Protecting Mommy from Lily's big feelings," Lily said slowly. That was the answer Catherine had searched for 6 years. Her daughter had been silent, not because she couldn't speak, but because she was afraid her overwhelming feelings would hurt her mother. Catherine pulled her close through the bars. "I want to hear it all, sweetheart. The sadness, the joy, the anger, everything. I want to hear it all. Really. Really. No more hiding. We'll face it together." Lily turned to Andre. "Andre, help?" Catherine and Andre locked eyes. The tension from 10 minutes ago had vanished, replaced by rare understanding. "If your mom agrees," Andre smiled softly, "I'd be honored to help." Catherine drew a deep breath and extended her hand. "Andre, would you like to come inside for coffee? I think Lily has more to say." Andre glanced at her pale hand with its perfect manicure, then at Lily's radiant smile behind the gate. "I'd be glad to." And when the iron gate swung open for the first time in 6 years, it wasn't just Andre who stepped inside. It was hope, healing, and the chance for a family to be reborn. Lily sat between her mother and Andre on the leather sofa. She still clutched her teddy bear, but now she spoke. Not much, but steadily. Each word was as precious as a diamond. "Bear's name? David," Lily whispered. "Like Daddy?" Catherine choked up. "Yes, sweetheart. Just like Daddy." "Daddy? In heaven?" "Yes, in heaven." "Daddy? See Lily talk?" "Of course. And he'll be so proud of you." Lily turned to Andre. "Isaiah, come play?" Andre laughed. "You want that?" "Yes, Lily, teach Isaiah about bears." In that moment, Catherine realized her daughter had never needed to be fixed. She only needed to be loved, understood, and, above all, accepted. But the story doesn't end here, because a breakthrough is only the first step. The true journey of healing, for Lily, for Catherine, and even for Andre, had only just begun. Catherine did something she hadn't done in 6 years. She canceled all her afternoon meetings to stay home with Lily. "Mommy no work?" Lily asked, surprised to see her mother sitting beside her as she drew. "Mommy work later." Now is Lily time. But Lily time turned out harder than Catherine expected. After 6 years without real communication, both mother and daughter had to relearn how to simply be with each other. "What do you want to do, baby?" Catherine asked. Lily thought for a moment. "Sit quiet." "Sit quiet?" "Like with Andre. Just sit." And that was Catherine's first lesson. Sometimes love doesn't need activities or words. It only needs presence. On Saturday afternoon, Andre brought Isaiah to the Doyle mansion. The 12-year-old looked a bit uneasy as he stepped into the vast garden. "Wow, Dad," Isaiah whispered. "This place is like a castle." "Remember what I told you?" Andre reminded him. "What matters isn't what people have, but who they are." Lily was waiting by the door, still clutching Teddy David. Seeing Isaiah, she stepped out, then froze, shy. "Hi," Isaiah said gently. "I'm Isaiah. My dad told me a lot about you." Lily looked at Andre, then back at Isaiah. "Hi, I'm Lily. Dad said you have a teddy named David," Isaiah continued. "That's a cool name." "Like Daddy," Lily lifted the bear. "Daddy in heaven." Isaiah nodded. "My mom's in heaven, too. Sometimes I talk to her in my dreams. And something magical happened. 2 children, one who lost a mother, one who lost a father, found understanding in each other without many words. Not everything was smooth." Lily spoke more, but also began to express feelings she had hidden for 6 years. One night, she grew angry because Catherine had to work late. "Mommy lied," Lily cried. "Mommy say no more work." "Baby, sometimes Mommy must work. But Mommy will be home soon." "No! Daddy say be back soon. Daddy never come back." In that moment, Catherine understood. Lily wasn't just afraid of speaking. She was afraid of trusting. Catherine knelt down, hugging her daughter. "You're right. Daddy promised to come back, but he couldn't. Mommy is different. Mommy will always come back. Promise." "I promise. And if you're worried, you can call Andre. He'll stay with you until Mommy returns." Catherine began inviting Andre and Isaiah for weekly dinners. Those meals quickly became the most precious moments for both families. But it wasn't always easy. Sometimes Isaiah felt jealous about sharing his dad. Sometimes Lily grew upset because Isaiah spoke freely with Andre. Sometimes Catherine and Andre clashed over parenting styles. "This is harder than I thought," Catherine admitted one night after the kids were asleep. Good things usually are, Andre smiled. But look at them. See how far they've come. And Catherine learned this. Family isn't perfection. Family is choosing to stay together, even through the hard parts. Catherine woke at 6:30, not because of work, but because of laughter from the kitchen. She came downstairs to find Andre teaching Lily and Isaiah how to make pancakes. "Mommy!" Lily ran to hug her. "Andre, teach me cook!" Catherine looked at Andre, who smiled. "Hope you don't mind." Isaiah wanted to share the Williams' famous pancake recipe. "I don't mind at all." In that moment, Catherine realized life could be different. Not the flawless one she had tried to build, but the beautiful chaos of a real family. "Lily!" Catherine called as she watched her daughter playing with Isaiah in the garden. "Come here, sweetie." Lily ran over, no longer shy or fearful. "Yes, Mommy?" "Mommy just wants to say, I'm proud of you. Not because you talk more, but because you are being yourself." Lily thought for a moment. "Mommy different too." "How am I different?" "Mommy, listen now. Before, Mommy talk. Now, Mommy, listen." The truth was undeniable. Catherine had learned the greatest lesson of her life. Sometimes the best kind of love is the silence of listening. One late autumn afternoon, Catherine stood at the window watching Andre teach Lily and Isaiah to rake fallen leaves. The three of them laughed together in the crisp air. Maria came near. "Señora, you look happy." "I am," Catherine smiled. "For the first time in years, I am truly happy." "Mr. Andre? He's a good man." "Yes, he is." "You think maybe someday?" Catherine looked at Maria, then back outside. "I don't know what the future holds, Maria. But I do know this. Whatever it is, we are building something beautiful." In the yard, Lily ran inside, arms full of golden leaves. "Mommy! Look! Isaiah, teach me make leaf crown." Catherine knelt down as Lily placed the crown on her head. "It's beautiful, baby." "Like family," Lily said seriously. "Different pieces, but beautiful together." Catherine hugged her daughter, glancing over her shoulder to see Andre and Isaiah walking up. "Yes, sweetheart. Beautiful together." They didn't know what the future would bring. They didn't know if Catherine and Andre would ever become a couple. They didn't know how big the next challenges might be. But they knew one thing. They had learned how to love without control, to listen without fixing, to be together without perfection. And perhaps that is the most important thing a family can have. Life rarely closes with an absolute ending, but sometimes new beginnings are more beautiful than old conclusions. And sometimes family isn't where you are born. It's where you choose to belong. Catherine, Lily, Andre, and Isaiah were writing their own story, finding each other in the most unexpected moments, and learning how to become a family in their own way. Because the best things often come from the places we least expect. And sometimes, love doesn't need words. It only needs presence, listening, and acceptance. If you found meaning in this story, remember, by truly listening, we can change someone's life. And sometimes, the greatest miracles begin with the smallest gestures. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to True Tale Time, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories. Tell me in the comments, what small moment once made you feel truly heard? Share it below, because somewhere out there, your story might be the miracle someone else needs.